Hi everyone, welcome back. In this session, we are going to see how to develop MVC web application in .NET 6. Initially, Microsoft released .NET frameworks, which work only in Windows OS. After that, Microsoft decided to release .NET Core to support cross-platforms like Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. By enhancing features in .NET Core, Microsoft released .NET 5, .NET 6, and so on. We are going to see all features in .NET 6 as Microsoft decided to provide long-term support for .NET 6 only. Below are the agenda in this session. First is what is MVC architecture and create a new project and files folder structure in MVC application and adding a controller, adding a action method and adding a view, adding a dynamic data to view. This is the agenda in this video. Let us open a Visual Studio 2022 and create a new project. Let's open Visual Studio. In this, you can create a new project using create a new project option. Here we can choose ASP.NET Core Web App. Next, we can provide some name here. We can provide as NET6 MVC. Click on next. As Microsoft decided .NET 6 as a long-term support, we can learn everything in .NET 6 itself in this video as well as in next videos. Make sure you have not used this enable Docker. Let's create the project. Sorry, we choose the wrong template, so it created normal web application, not MVC. I am closing this and I am going to open it, create a new project again. At core, here we can choose MVC. This one. This one we need to create a new project in .NET 6 MVC. Let's create next. We can provide name. Now we created a empty MVC application. Now we are going to see the default folder structures. Here we have some folders. The one is www root. It contains static files. Static files means CSS, that is cascaded style sheets, and JS, that is JavaScript, and we can provide jQuery. And libraries. Libraries means we can provide some jQuery library or bootstrap library. Then some icons and static files, static images, that things we can include inside this folder www root. Okay, then we have controllers folder. Already you know that MVC means model view controller. This is models, this is view, and this is controllers, that is MVC. So inside the controller folder we have one default controller, home controller. So open inside, this is controller name, home is controller name, then controller should be appended with the controller name. Here we have some public methods. Here we are calling that public methods as action methods. Action method may return view and may not return view. If it returns view, then the return type is action result. Else we can provide some string as return type or integer as return type, anything we can provide. We can see in this same video. Okay, after that we have models folder. Inside the model we can provide any models which we need to use in our project. Then inside views folder we can create any number of views. Here's we have some special views. This is view start. whenever we are starting an application, this view is used in all other views. If we use some layouts for our web application, then we can provide that layout name here. Then that layout is used in all the views. View imports. This is the feature of .NET Core, not in .NET Framework. If we need to import any libraries, then we can provide that library names here. Here we are importing MVC new, MVC models and some tag helpers. In this way, we can include any libraries here. Here is a special folder shared. In this shared, we have layout.cshtml. This layout is used in all our views. You know that master pages in our ASP.NET Framework web applications. Same feature is used here in layout.cshtml. Okay. By default, we have some view, that is home view and home controller. This is the folder structure of this thing. Then we have special file app settings.json, but you already know we explained about this in our previous videos, that is in .NET Framework Core. You know that we can provide the connection string or all other settings in this app settings.json. Instead using some hard-coded values in our CSR file, we can provide that configurations inside this app settings.json, and we can read this in our CS file. Another file is program.cs. It is application entry for our web application. Program.cs is application entry point. In this file, we can create application host and we can add services to implement dependency injection, and also we can add pipelines like authorization, authentication, and use static files, use HTTP direction and authorization and controllers. In this way, we can add pipelines also. One more thing is startup.cs. .NET 6 don't have this startup.cs. If we use earlier version of .NET Core, like .NET Core 3.1 or .NET 5, we have startup.cs, which is called from program.cs. But in .NET 6, we can avoid startup.cs and we can implement everything in program.cs itself. Now, go back to agenda. We learn what is MVC architecture and created a new project, and we see about files and folder structures in MVC application. Now we are going to add a new controller. How to do that? Go to controller folder, add new controller. We can provide this as a test controller. In upcoming sessions, we can create a different controllers. For this first session, we can use it as a test controller. We can create a MVC controller empty. There are scaffolding items also there. We can see it later. Now we are going to create a empty. We need to provide the name. With our controller, that controller name should be appended. So if I provide test controller, then my controller name is test. That's it. Not the controller name is test controller. Okay, just add. Yeah, if I create a controller, this is controller name and this is action method. Okay, now we added successfully one controller. Now we are going to add a action method. We can leave the default action method and we can create a new action method which returns simply string. We can learn in this. Then we can go for the view, returning view. So public string something called hello world. We can return as hello world. Okay, we have added a simple action method which returns string. Let's build the solution and run the application. I'm going to run the application. Would you like to trust the ASP.NET Core SSL certificate? Okay, we can provide this as yes. Yeah, our application opened in a new browser. This is a empty application, but we have created one controller and action method. We need to call it. That is, our controller name is test, and our action method name is hello world. Yes, we are seeing the result here. Yes, successfully we created a controller and action method. Now we are seeing the result. This method returns only string. So view is not applicable for this action method, but most of the cases we need to return a view inside a action method. Let's add one more action method which returns view. Public IE action result, something what we can name it as test action. We can provide as test action. That is not a matter. Yeah, here we are returning a view instead of string. Now we can check what happens. I'm running the application. Providing test controller name is test, and our action method name is test action. Yeah, it returns error. It's expected one because it expects some view under views test folder. It expects some view test action.cshtml. We have created only action method, not created the view. So we need to create view. So I'm going to create a view. How we can create the view? I can provide as add view, empty add. Yeah, inside views folder, inside test, because our controller name is test, so it creates a folder named test. Inside the test, that index.cshtml is created. Now I am running the application. No, it expects the with the name test action.cshtml because our action method is test. Our action method is test action. So the view name also should be the same. So I am going to add a view with the same name. Add view test view empty. I am going to provide the name as test action.cshtml. Okay, let's run the application. Yeah, there is no error. But how to confirm it directly directed to our view? We can put some string here to display so that we can confirm whether this same page is displayed there. I'm going to put some HTML tag like h tag. You can provide h1. I am providing test action view. Okay, let's run the application again. Yeah, it displayed. So it correctly navigate to our view. You need to look here. This is our web applications URL. After that, we are providing controller name. After that, we are providing action method name. So it will redirect to this controller, test controller, and test action method. Inside that, we are returning view. So in the same name, test action.cshtml, we are having some view. So whatever thing here, it will be displayed while we navigating to that action method. Okay. Now added a method and added a view. Now we are going to add dynamic data to view. Here we provided the hard-coded value here. Instead, we need to pass some data from our controller to view. We need to display it in view. How to do that? We have some options like view back and view data. You can see one by one. Go to controller. Yeah, here I am going to provide view back dot. I can provide any name. This is a dynamic, so I can provide any name. Message equal to some test message. Okay, I can provide welcome back. And we have one more thing, view data. We can use that view data also. Here we need to provide some key. It acts as a key value pair. So I'm going to provide some MSG. Okay. Now this view back and view data transfers data from our controller to view. Yes, same request, not in other request, the same request. So I'm going to consume that. H1, I'm going to use, what is that? Back.message. Copy that. Here we need to use the razor syntax. That is at symbol. We need to provide at symbol. That is razor syntax. Let's run the application. Yeah, the dynamic message displayed here. We have one more thing, view data. We can use the view data also here. Here we need to use razor syntax. Let's run the application. Yeah, here view back and view data both displayed. It acts as a dynamic data binding. Okay, not only these two keywords, we have model binding also to transfer data from our controller to view. We can see that in our next session. Yeah, in our next session, we can see about how to implement simple MVC web forms with CRUD operations. And that time we can use that model binding also. Thanks for watching.